Hey guys, Rocambasco here, and today I tried beating Fallout New Vegas with only my fists. So what does that mean? Well, it means Benny and Caesar are effed. Oh, you think a casino with a weapon ban will save you? Splat! Oh, you think a weapons ban and all your Praetorian guards will save you too, Caesar? Splat! Wait, that's me. This challenge is not to be confused with an unarmed only challenge. I'm literally only using my fists, so non-melee attacks like the ranger takedown is off limits because you're using your leg to take down an enemy, or you high-five them in first-person mode. Either way, there's no fists being used here. So, you all know how the game begins, by getting killed by Benny. Doc Mitchell cured my death, and now it was time to choose my name, so I went with Foreskin, because killing Benny with my fists just wasn't enough. Getting beat to death by someone named Steve or Greg is effective, but it's not humiliating. But getting killed by a man named Foreskin would make Benny's inevitable death sound as pathetic as possible. Just imagine what it's gonna be like when every woman he's ever slept with and every man who ever looked up to him heard that he died when the foreskin he had once discarded and buried rose from the grave and tracked him down to kill him. Probably makes him wish he was the one getting shot in the head. The doc fixed my face the best he could, and I chose my special attributes. Perception and charisma didn't really matter to me, so they get low points. Intelligence and strength both sat at 6, but the three most important stats for me were agility, endurance, and luck. Luck and endurance being the most important since luck contributes to critical hits, and endurance for raising my unarmed stat. I chose unarmed, survival, and melee weapons for my skills. I didn't waste my time in Good Springs. I ransacked Doc Mitchell's house and Victor's shack for as much gear to sell as possible. I sold it, and then began my journey to the strip. I took the long way so I could gain as much experience points along the way as possible. I slaughtered the local gecko population along the way to Prim, or maybe just barely killed them all is a better way to describe my encounter. When I made it to Prim, I killed all the convicts. I'd be lying if I said my anus wasn't tight right now, because these convicts could do some serious damage to me in a group. One-on-one was not an issue though. I wanted to save as much healing items as possible for other fights, so when my health got too low, I'd leave the hotel and sleep in the NCR soldier's bed and then continue on from where I left off. When I arrived in Nipton, Oliver told me how his lottery ticket was his ticket to a better life. What a coincidence, because Oliver was my ticket to a better life, so I slaughtered him and raised my unarmed to 68. I met Caesar's Legion, and then I tried to expel some wasteland justice. But when I heard the sounds of that chainsaw, I knew I was as fucked here as a crippled Brahmin is in a rad scorpion pimp house. I left, and before long, I found myself in Freeside. I wandered down the right alley, and these men thought I was trapped down here with them, when really, they were trapped down here with me. I purposely came here to steal their lives and their experience points, so I killed them, I took out the trash, and made my way to Camp McCarran. Also, a good thing about Freeside is it has a bed as soon as you enter the doors, so if I ever needed health, I would usually fast travel here and sleep. I slipped past the NCR guards, rode the monorail, and found myself in the New Vegas Strip. I entered the Tops, and the greeter wanted to know how he could make my experience here the Tops. But there isn't a dialogue option for letting me get away with murder, so I said goodbye and confronted Benny. He wanted to negotiate, but smooth babies didn't interest me. I was gonna remove him from the realm of the living, just like Foreskin was removed from the realm of the penis. And that's when my game crashed for the first time of many. I tried attacking him on the stairs the second time around, but I got my butt handed to me. So the last time, I waited until he was leaning over this bar, I took some psycho, and then he took one straight up the ass. I punched him so hard that he fell to the ground, and then I continued to beat him. He looked like a clumsy idiot when I knocked his weapon out of his hand. Not once, but twice. His death was very humiliating, so with that, I accomplished my goal. I took the platinum chip, left everyone alive so they could spread the word, and brought the chip to Mr. House. I decided I would side with Mr. House in this playthrough. Probably the hardest route for me to have taken, but mama didn't raise a bitch. After that, I traveled east of the El Dorado substation to kill some ants, which brought me to level 7. With my unarmed being maxed out now, I raised melee weapons to 45 so I could get the Super Slam and Stonewall skills later, which would be some of my most powerful assets in this challenge. The rest of my skill points from here on would mostly go to medicine, with the occasional barter boost. I made my way to Fortification Hill to install the platinum chip, and some ghoul troopers almost killed me. That's when I realized that even though my fists are as dangerous as they are, I still had an issue with health, so I knew I would need some powerful armor eventually. If you catch my meaning. Especially if I was gonna have any chance of killing the entirety of the Brotherhood of Steel or Legate Lanius and his bros later. When I made it to Caesar's camp, I fought in the arena to farm for some XP. My first 2 opponents were easy, but I had to put my big boy pants on now, cause I had to fight an NCR Ranger. Apparently, she was unkillable, but if I learned anything from childhood movies, it's that if it bleeds, you can kill it. Luckily, this woman looked young enough to not hit menopause yet, so I was sure she was still bleeding on a regular basis. Turns out I was right, cause she died. I did plot stuff, and then I learned the Legion Assault skill from Malfoy. With this skill, I was gonna single-handedly end the Legion's reign.
You'll pay for that.
And I indeed did pay for that. Before I left the camp, I accidentally helped strengthen Caesar's army. I undid my boo-boo, I died, I went down into Mr. House's Securitron vault, and I believed myself to be effed when I found the room of turrets. Luckily, I overestimated their combat efficiency. I leveled up and finally got the Super Slam perk. Basically, hitting your opponent has a chance to make them ragdoll. I upgraded House's Securitrons to Mark II, and now it was time to recruit the boomers. But I'm no diplomat. I let my fist do the talking and see what happens from there. However, I wanted the first recon beret before I came here, so I returned to Novak, and Boone wanted me to help me find his wife's killer. He said he'd trust me since I was a stranger, so I demonstrated to both Boone, Manny, and everyone watching this why you should never trust a stranger.
Hello there.
I took his beret and fast traveled to Nellis. The reason why I took Manny's beret is it increases your chance of doing a critical attack by 5%. I meant to grab it earlier, but I forgot about it until now. My plan with the boomers was to kill Loyal and Pearl outright, but I did the Ant mission first to get some XP, and then I killed Loyal. He didn't put up much of a fight. Pearl, however, did. She was the first person to break all of my fingers. I guess Pearl isn't just her name, but also what her skin is made of. I finished her off, and then, when I saw that smooth body, I knew I was right. I returned to Mr. House and showed him my broken digits. He didn't seem to care. All he wanted to know was how my meeting with the boomers went. I figured my broken fingers was pretty self-explanatory, but regardless, I told him that I killed them all. After that, I took care of the Omertas. I was gonna wipe them all out at first, but the strip is kinda useless if it's not making money, so instead, I decided to help Cappuccino take leadership, which involved me setting Troik free of his contract and taking out Nero and Sal. With that business concluded, it was now time to take out the Brotherhood of Steel, so I made my way to Hidden Valley. Along the way, I killed some powder gangers, which gave me enough XP to reach level 10. As someone who relies on critical hits, I obviously had to take the finesse perk. I reached the Hidden Valley bunker and had to do some Brotherhood of Steel quests for the next few hours. The reason is because there was no way I was gonna be able to destroy the Brotherhood of Steel barehanded without power armor. You all know how these quests go, a series of fetch quests, talk to people quests, and more fetch quests. The only hard part of any of these quests was getting that part from Vault 3. The receptionist for Vault 3 wanted me to go because only crackheads were welcome here. I would have left peacefully, but I didn't like her tone, so I approached her and made her eat my knuckle sandwich. Luckily, this place is littered with stimpaks, health items, beds, and other drug paraphernalia, so health wasn't a problem. That is, until I went to the living quarters deeper in the vault. I was more fucked than a radroach using roller skates on a flight of stairs, cause the waste of life had some weaponry that was too much for me to handle, but I needed a key to get to the maintenance wing since I couldn't lockpick the door, and the fiends had it. But after doing some investigating, I learned that the ranger being held prisoner here actually has a key, so I used the power of words to get my way. Hard, blunt, physical words. I cleared out the maintenance wing and decided to fight the big boss fiend. At first, he was really destroying me, and I seriously had to rethink my recent life decisions. But take away his chainsaw, and what is he? Just another drug addict. So I beat him until his motor stopped running, obtained the last part from the last vault, and returned to the Brotherhood of Steel. My last mission was to install a transmitter in a console on Black Mountain. The only issue is that super mutants run this place. I made the grave mistake of thinking super mutants weren't racist, but I was dead wrong. So the second time around, I was scouting out the place planning my attack, and one of the Brotherhood of Scribes left the vault even though there's a lockdown just so she could tell me that her and the other scribes got me a friggin' gift. How irresponsible of her. Now I'm gonna feel kinda bad when I slaughter her and everyone else in the bunker. After I took out the 4 mutants at the bottom of the mountain, I climbed up the side of Black Mountain, ran over to the broadcast building, and entered the door through the fence. I beat a Nightkin until he started seizing, I dealt with Tabitha, installed the device, returned to the Brotherhood, and they finally gave me my power armor training. And my god, killing the Brotherhood with this armor equipped was 10 times easier than I thought it'd be. I started off by killing Hardin, and then I made McNamara become a part of his precious bunker that he loves so much, and next was everyone else. The 3 biggest reasons why this fight was as easy as it was definitely thanks to my power armor, super slam, and another big perk that helped me out here was piercing strike. Unarmed attacks negate 15 DT on a target? That's insane. I got that perk right after I left Vault 3, so I couldn't have gotten it at a better time. Plus, as I fought the members, I made sure to take their weapons so they were forced to fight me with their shitty weapons or their fists. And thank God I didn't have to destroy the turrets to finish my objective, because they're stronger than any person in this vault. I defeated the last member of the Brotherhood of Steel, I rerouted the power in the El Dorado substation, and now it was time for the Battle of Hoover Dam. The first half of the Hoover Dam battle was a cakewalk, but the last part where you fight Lanius is where the trouble comes in. It took me 2.5 hours to figure this part out. Lucky for you guys, it's condensed into a minute. The Legate himself is a huge problem on his own, but I also had to deal with Praetorian guards, Carbine cocksuckers, and like 10 of his lackeys, 2 of which have chainsaws by the way, so you better believe me when I was saying, Mamma Mia. I started off by reloading an old save and obtaining about 100 stimpaks from Chet and Goodsprings. There was just no way I'd survive the upcoming battle without a lot of them. Then I fought my way back to the Legate's camp and began phase 1 of my plan. I lured the Praetorian guards over to this gate, then I would exit and Mr. House's Securitrons would take them out. I repeated this for all the guards in the camp prior to confronting Lanius. After initiating the battle, I ran over to this guard tower. After some legionaries drop down from here, there's gonna be one more guy here shooting me with a carbine, and I realized in my many trial and error attempts that if I use VATS on him, then I can teleport up here with him, and then I could escape the camp. A necessary step since the camp gets locked down during the fight, and because of this, I can't leave. Even though the camp is locked down, the enemies can still come and go as they please, so I lured them all to the gate like I did with the Praetorian guards, killing a few enemies on the way as I did. The last 2 Praetorian guards and 1 other legionary were the only ones to follow me out here. The rest refused, so I spent the next 15 minutes finishing off the last of the guards. It was tedious and boring, but eventually I got the job done. There's invisible walls all around the camp, and the doors were still locked, so the only way for me to enter was by jumping on this I-beam and then going over the gate. Now, it was just the 2 of us. It took me about 40 stimpaks and lots of punches to get the job done, but eventually I dealt the killing blow and a nearby rock ate his corpse. Just like McNamara, he was immortalized in his home. The NCR threw a tantrum, so I killed them too, and I beat New Vegas with only my fists. Well, be sure to subscribe, leave a like and a comment, and I'll see you all in the next one.